Greetings to the 12 tribes of Yasharala that are scattered to the four corners of the world. I am back with another video, and in today's video, I would like to discuss some important topics that are going on right now in the news and just a prophetic time to be alive. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking. I want to go ahead and jump into this. This video will need to be two or maybe even three parts because I would like to discuss the different things that are going on separately. But let's go ahead and jump right into this. I pray that the Most High, a higher, I give him all praise, honor, and glory, and I pray that he brings everything to my remembrance and that he is over this lesson and just remove me out of the way um because he wants to speak to his people, and from my understanding or from what I am gaining, this is a uh very high time uh as far as prophecy being fulfilled and aligning with scripture. So let's go ahead and just jump into this, okay? All right. The first video that I'm going to share with you, I am sharing under fair use for educational purposes only. This is the former CDC Director, Dr. Robert Redfield. This video was recorded June 14th of 2024. And I will play the video in its entirety. Once again, fair use for educational purposes only.
I really do think it's very likely that we will at some time, it's not a question of if, it's more of a question of when, we will have a bird flu pandemic. As you mentioned, unfortunately, bird flu has, when it does enter humans, has a significant mortality, probably somewhere between 25 and 50% mortality. So it's going to be quite complicated. We know exactly what has to happen for bird flu to be infectious for humans and go human to human. Scientists in 2012 actually did experiments in the lab using gain-of-function research, which I'm not in favor of, but the scientists did it, and they figured the 5 amino acids that have to change in a key receptor in order for bird flu to gain a propensity to bind to the human receptor and then be able to go human to human. Something that obviously happened with COVID, where COVID obviously learned how to use the ACE2 receptor in humans and then, of course, became a very infectious virus. Those 5 amino acids,
So
that's a huge...
So I was just wondering if it's going to go, if it does, hopefully it won't. If it goes human to human, though, is it like COVID where if you cough, someone else can get it? Is that how it spreads, or does it spread a different way?
No, it's likely to spread through aerosol and droplets is how it's going to eventually spread. And once the virus gains the ability to attach to the human receptor and then go human to human, that's when you're going to have the pandemic. I'm less concerned, though, that this will happen through spillover and evolution in animals. I'm much more concerned that this will happen in the laboratory through gain-of-function research.
Okay.
I can create this virus literally in weeks to months by using gain-of-function research. I know exactly what amino acids I have to change because in 2012, against my recommendation, the scientists that did these experiments actually published them. So the recipe for how to make bird flu highly infectious for humans is already out there. All you have to do is look it up.
That's creepy to think about.
Okay. So I want you all to focus on what he said about there's no question of if, it's a matter of when there will be another pandemic. There will be a bird flu outbreak. Let me stop sharing for 1 second. No, I'll keep it like this. He was asked by the reporter, will this be like C-19, where it is transmissible by air or people coughing? He said no. He specifically says no and says it will more likely be transmitted through aerosol. And he also says through gain of function research, this virus can be created in a lab in days to months and dispersed in the population. Okay, so I will attach that video. Once again, this was June 14th of 2024. Let's take a look at the symptoms of bird flu in humans. It is eye irritation, redness of eyes, tearing, discharge from the eye, respiratory symptoms such as a cough, sore throat, difficulty breathing, shortness of breath, fever, a temperature of 100 or greater, or feeling feverish. Now, we know that our regular body temperature is 98.5, so 100 to me is not considered a temperature, but other symptoms such as headaches, runny nose, stuffy nose, muscle and body aches, fatigue, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, or even seizures. So these symptoms happen to be eerily similar to a cold or flu symptoms, which were the same type of symptoms that were associated with the coronavirus. Okay, let's keep going. So this article here is from July 2nd, 2024, and this is from the University of Minnesota. The University of Minnesota and their research team, but this is actually from their library. And it says that the Department of Health and Human Services, through its Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, today announced that it has awarded Moderna $176 million to develop a pre-pandemic vaccine against the H5 bird flu. Okay? So once again, June 14th, 2024, the former director of the CDC says there will be a bird flu pandemic coming, and that pandemic can be created through gain of function in a lab. And then 2 weeks later, July 2nd, 2024, there is a article that is released about Moderna being awarded $176 million to develop a messenger RNA. So remember, we have DNA. We get one strand of DNA from our father. We get one strand of DNA from our mother. This messenger RNA is a synthetic strand. I'm sorry. So you get one strand of RNA from your father, one strand from your mother. Each strand of RNA has 72,000 genes. And if you are inserted with an additional strand of RNA, which this will be a synthetic RNA that knows how to bind, you will have three strands of three strand DNA than two. Okay. So let's take a look at this. October 2nd, 2024, in Washington, D.C., now they have a international bird flu summit. This summit took place once again October 2nd through 4th. And let's just take a look at the overview of what was discussed at the summit. We had mass fatality management planning, okay? Conduct morgue operations, mass fatality, morgue operations. We'll talk about that a little more later. Continuity of operations in government, all right, ensuring the continuity of government functions, implementing essential service, mitigating disruptions to our essential functions of public and private sectors, and dealing with successive waves of the pandemic outbreak. All right. Business implementing remote work and flexible schedules. Okay. When a lot of our jobs had us working from home, at that time, I was a school teacher teaching third grade. And, we were told in March that we were going to lock down for 2 weeks and quarantine the school and everyone remote work for 2 weeks. And we end up remote working for the remainder of that school year and the entire following school year. All right. What are they going to do? Make sure that that there are resource allocation and protection for employees, emergency management services, managing supply chain interruptions, handling panic, and maintaining public order. How's that going to be handled? How do they plan to manage panic and maintain public order? Prioritizing antivirals and PPE for essential workers, law enforcement agencies, ensuring law enforcement personnel health and safety, safeguarding vaccine and essential goods delivery, controlling social unrest and public disorder, implementing isolation measures in correctional facilities. Then we have first responders, ensuring public works personnel, health and safety, managing traffic and transportation, maintaining water and sanitation services, ensuring stability of communication, and addressing telecommunication overloads. First responders, let's take a look at this third, conducting mass vaccination efforts, enforcing quarantine measures effectively. Hospitals, prioritizing antiviral and essential resources, maintaining operations with decreased workforce, and safeguarding emergency operations center functionality. All right. Call center service, training employees on symptom screening and response protocols, implementing remote work policies and flexible measures, and so on. So this sounds eerily similar to what we went through in 2020. Let's take a look at the next, the agenda on the next page. Global influenza surveillance networks and delivery of vaccine and antiviral medication. Current and emerging approaches in vaccine development, advances in the avian flu vaccine strategies, vaccine optimization and equitable access, strengthening antiviral medication distribution systems, and enhancing global surveillance networks for a timely response. All right, so I will just allow you all to read through the rest of this on your own as I attach it below, but you get the drift, okay? You get the drift. All right, so that's day 2, and then was a day 3. And I want to remind you all that in December 2019, we had we began seeing the news and seeing people falling out in China, just in the street waiting for the bus and falling over, people just dropping dead, and so it's all this panic, that was on uh, the television. And by February, we started having supposed or allegedly there were cases in America. By March, we were locking down, and we were going working from home, and school from home. And so we were not aware that in October of 2019, prior to December, there was a Event 201 summit on where the international leaders discussed how would they possibly handle a possible coronavirus outbreak. And then this outbreak supposedly or allegedly took place from a lab through gain of function. All right. And we'll get into what gain of function is and what it looks like, but I want to play a little bit of this video for you all as well.
Was officially operated by Dr. Edwin A. Deagal Jr. In 2014, Deagal.com published predictions of massive population declines happening.
So I'll stop it right here. So this was a report on Deagal.com. This is a website that is associated with the Department of Defense and with DARPA. And from 2014 to 2020, they showed a forecast of the population being reduced around the world up to 70%. They showed America's population being reduced from 316,444,000 to around 99 million. So about 217 million people just forecast to wipe out in 2025, reducing America's population by 68%. Puerto Rico from being reduced by 68%. Germany 65%, and so on. Now in 2020, this was removed out of their site when the pandemic happened, and so now they removed it from their site. People can no longer find it, but someone did find it on Internet Archive. So I'll let this play a little longer.
Abruptly before the year 2025, mostly in Western countries. For over 5 years, the mysterious depopulation predictions on Deagal.com were regularly updated. But after the 2020 lockdowns, this page was removed from the website, but can still be found archived on the Wayback Machine. Deagal.com has always been a very stark website, with all the appearances of being an intelligence agency website. It claimed to be the personal website of Dr. Edwin A. Deagal Jr., who recently passed away in February of 2021. In their recent article, uncovering the CIA and Rockefeller Foundation's role in the depopulation forecast released by Deagal, the expose connects the dots that many of us have assumed existed.
Okay. So once again, this will be linked for you all's viewing below, but I just wanted you to see that. Okay. So now we have we started seeing in December bird flu cases in Louisiana and California. And now the governor of California has declared a state of emergency in response to the bird flu. Okay, so let's go back to what the former CDC director said about this being transmitted through aerosol. Aerosol is a suspension of a fine, solid, or liquid particles and gas, such as smoke, fog, and mist, are aerosols. Airborne aerosol transmissions of infective viral particles. All right. Also, aerosols, plural, the fine particles of an aerosol or stratospheric aerosols. The second definition is a substance, such as an insecticide or a medicine, dispensed from a pasteurized container, such as an aerosol. Also, the container for this. So let's go down and look at some recent examples of the word aerosol being used in the web. All right. On December 13th, 2024, Judy Stone says avian flu can be transmitted by formites, contained surfaces, droplets, and aerosols. I know in my area, I don't know about yours, but we've been waking up to heavy fog in the air. Heavy fog that lasts, that you can't even see through. It comes at night and it still lingers around in the morning. And it's not a normal mist because it doesn't just leave, those water particles that are on your vehicle don't just dry up as it gets warmer in the day, but it actually leaves a gray residue on your windows and on your vehicle. All right, so once again, he said that it would be delivered through gain of function. When asked, will this be delivered such as by methods such as C-19 would call for airborne? He said no, no gain of function. Just tell me what the recent lottery numbers will be, because they just happen to have a globe in front of them, a crystal ball where they know what's going to take place. Gain of function research on viruses is enhancing its transmissibility, the virus replication, virulence, host range, immune evasion, and drug and vaccine resistance. So basically, he said this can be created in days to weeks in a lab and then released through aerosol, which can look like smoke, clouds, mist in the air. All right. So basically creating a super virus, when you through gain of function, you see what could hinder it and you break those barriers. And he says anyone can create it because they've already researched it and they published how to create this super bird flu virus. Okay, so I wanted to remember when I was looking up aerosol, one thing that came up that was very interesting was what was also considered aerosols were called bat bombs. The first bat bomb, let's read this. Bat bomb was an experimental World War II weapon developed by the United States. The bomb consisted of a bomb-shaped casing with over 1,000 compartments. Each contained a hibernating Mexican free-tailed bat with a small and dictionary bomb attached. Excuse me, you all. So, I don't know if you all are aware of this, but the first bat bomb took place in World War II, where, like we see, bombs were being attached to bats and having bats to fly into certain places and explode. Or uh, let me see, let's say disease attached to bats and having them to fly out in specific areas and release what has been attached to it. Well, what I found out too is that there was a cover up that took place because actually a brand new military base, the apparently they were doing a bat bomb operation. They tried to dispatch the bats into a certain area, but the wind supposedly prevented the bats from getting there, or the wind was opposing the bats, and so the bats end up dropping the bombs on a brand new military United States military base, and that base burnt to the ground. And so it's very interesting that when some of these rogue viruses are released, we're always told that it has something to do with a bat. So I was just thought that was very interesting. But bat bombs are also called aerosols, is what as I was, researching this. I want to say here too that I'm gonna try and post that full video of the CDC director and that gentleman, because there was another part where the COVID death rate was discussed, which he says was a 99.4. You had a 99.4 recovery rate and only 0.6 death rate, or 0.06 death rate, less than 1%. But so if that was the case, where did all of these deaths come from is the question. And it's just a question. Oh, but let me go back there. I'm sorry, you all. So a person, Dr. Anthony Fauci, told the public we needed to quarantine, we needed to wear masks, we needed to social distance, and we needed to drink the Kool-Aid because it was safe and effective. And now, everything that this person told the public has come back to be untruth. The social distancing was a farce. The mask mandates were a farce. They did not prevent anything because those droplets of the virus is smaller than a droplet of air. So it's no way to prevent it from going through the mask. The lockdowns were not necessary. So Senator Ron Paul said that Fauci should go to prison over being dishonest, and even, he should be prosecuted. And so now we have President Biden, who recently pardoned his son of everything he was convicted on. He said he's also considering pardoning Fauci before he leaves the White House. So people were questioning, is that even ethical or legal? How can he pardon him because he has not been brought up on any charges yet? It's only been suggested. But here's a news article here that says experts say Biden has a constitutional right to issue preemptive pardons. Preemptive pardons. So he's discussing pardoning. There were 3 people. It was I'm trying to see if those names are. It was let's see. It was Fauci. It was someone Cheney, Liz Cheney, Anthony Fauci, and one more person, Adam Schiff. Those 3 people, he's discussing pardoning them prior to him leaving the White House. So, and signing it for even if someone tries to come down the road later this year, next year, or in 10 years, they can't touch him. So I just want to show this. This was a meeting that Biden and Trump had 2 weeks ago, and they are giving a very special handshake. This is a transfer from one power to the other, and this is an agreement. This handshake is an agreement that this torch is being passed and that he will finish the job that he started. So basically, they've been passing the torch back and forth because I made a video on this man that was taken down on his policies, his executive orders, Operation Warp Speed, and everything that he implemented that the Biden campaign took over. Okay, let me just take a look. So it's eerily deja vu. I'm also going to, if you all know that we've been receiving a lot of news about these drones in the air. So that particular handshake of let's go back. The first 2 fingers are extended on each of them. It's not a normal handshake. The first 2 fingers are extended, and that is the grip of a master. Okay, so you all can take a look at this for yourself. But it's very interesting that it said that it would be distributed through aerosol. And we know that city by city, there are reports of these drones flying everywhere. And people have been recording videos of the drones spraying things in the air and leaving a residue, like similar to chemtrails, similar to the chemtrails after the drones go away. Whatever substance is still in the air is still there. I will continue to make a part 2 of this video. We know that there is supposed to be a transition of power January 20th, 2025. And we know that there is an agenda that is supposed to take place in 2025, and then definitely to lead into 2030. So I think it's Zechariah that says or is it, no, it might be Zephaniah that says 2/3 of the population will be wiped out. And if you look at around that 70%, that's, approximately 2/3 of the population. And then the 1/3 that is left will go through the wilderness. And then there will also be a purging in that wilderness period. And I want you all to focus on too, who Trump is choosing for his office. He's choosing Elon Musk. You know, he's choosing a person that every month is flying rockets into the air, that is trying to have life on Mars, and that wants the whole population brain chipped by 2030. And he also has chosen Dr. Oz to be in his cabinet, who was also a very vocal proponent for back during in 2020 for Fauci and everything that was going on. So um, prophetic things, this is a prophetic time that we are in, you all. And I just want you to be aware and be prayed up. Let's see. Also, I'm gonna find the video too. While we were discussing, I'm just trying to look over my notes and make sure I'm not forgetting anything. But while we were discussing the drones, um, Elon Musk also shot a rocket into space that can beam down and activate, that has the ability to beam down and activate certain technology. And I hope that I find that video. It's very hard. The actual article, there's an article on it, and it seems like when Google is making it very hard to pull that article back up. But if not, I'll try to find a video where somebody else discusses the article. But hopefully, I can find that article and attach to you attach it for you so that you can read more on that yourself as well. So we are in some very, very trying times. We're moving into trying times. We have a polar cold front that is coming, a vortex that is coming. And I've had dreams of total blackness, like when, you know, the power going out, total blackness. And I'll share some of my dreams in the next video. But hey, all we can do is pray. All we can do is trust in the Most High too, because He will do what He says He will do. He cannot lie. And so we just have to remember His promises no matter what, and keep our eyes and minds stayed on Him. Don't look to the left nor to the right to get distracted, and don't make these situations bigger than Him, because He is bigger, He's greater, He's already spoken it, so it's already done. But we know that the powers that be, they plan to, they're not going down without a fight. I'll say that. And we'll discuss more of that in our next video. And we'll also discuss Daniel 2, I believe Daniel 7, and a little bit of Revelations and how this all ties in. Until then, I pray that you all enjoy the rest of your day. Until the next video, Shalom.